Hi. Well, I'm here in Deadwood again, and I'm stopped by Jason's place. They're having a party this weekend for the holiday, and the town's kind of opening up for whatever they do in the summertime. And anyhow, I kind of got wind that Jason has a friend that was coming to spend some time with him, a gentleman by the name of Paul Yaffe. And Paul Yaffe is a individual. He builds bikes, okay? He builds bikes, and to cut through the chase, the bottom line is, if you want to build yourself one of these motorcycles, you're not going to do it without Yaffe. I hear Jason all the time. He's always referring to Paul Yaffe. Paul Yaffe this, Paul Yaffe that. It's like, geez, you know, and I'm getting into this stuff. You know, I want to find out who's who, taking this stuff to the next level, so I'm always surrounded by the best people. And man, I tell you what, I got real lucky here because Jason and Paul Yaffe they're just really good buddies from a long time ago. And I went on to the YouTube. I'm a YouTube nut, so I go on to YouTube and I'm investigating all about this Paul Yaffe guy. And he is something else. He is the real deal. This guy's been around forever. And he's here. And he was kind enough to take a little bit of time to talk to me and you about this SRT, which has me just completely stoked. I love it. Anyhow, I'm gonna turn this camera around, and we have with us here Mr. Yaffe. And Mr. Yaffe, I'm not the best camera guy in the world, but I think we're getting it together here. This is Paul Yaffe.
How you doing?
A pleasure to meet you.
Nice to know you.
And we all know our friend Jason.
How's it going?
So basically, you've seen enough of my face, so I'm gonna go ahead and turn this camera around on these gentlemen and have them talk to you about the SRT. He'll take us back to the beginning. One of the things that I had found, I guess, that I'll cut this part out. One of the things that I'd like you to do, Paul, is take this back, of course, to the beginning. I was absolutely shocked to see that, and you had mentioned to me that it's not a long time in the motor to build a motorcycle or get something out like this, but this has been in the market for like 6 or 8 years. And I am just shocked that I've never seen one, I've never heard about it, nothing. So anyhow, I'll be quiet and let Mr. Yaffe talk.
Well, hi, how y'all doing? So I'll take a moment and correct you. First out, it was conceived in about 2012, 2013, but it took me about 5 years to bring it to market. I had to partner up with a tire company to actually make me a tire to my design that fit the needs of the platform that we were trying to create. So I think that was one of the biggest challenges was first finding a tire company that would work with us and make a tire just for us, which this tire actually has SRT printed on it, and the letter 777. It actually is an SRT 777 tire built by a company called Shinko, which is whose parent company is Yokohama, which has a very deep racing heritage and a very well-known brand. They build an excellent quality.
And that's actually one of the things I immediately keyed in on, was because I was not a fan of people taking a rear tire and putting it on the front.
That's what we did the first time.
Yeah, and I know that was, yeah, but that's what was intriguing to me about the SRT was this was not a rear tire that's been repurposed, flipped around so the cords are in the right direction. This is this tire, yeah, it's purpose built for this kit. And I think that people get confused sometimes because they think when we say SRTs, because all of our SRTs that we build are not just SRTs, they're much more elaborate, they've got fancy paint and stuff, but that's really not what the SRT is. The SRT is
Steamroller Touring.
Steamroller Touring.
It's what it stands for.
Yeah,
Great name.
But it's strictly your creation of the front, or the front suspension, the front handle.
Oh, you can go back. So you can go back. Let's go back a little further. 2008, 2009, when we started. We had already launched the Bagger Nation brand, and we played around with 23-inch wheels, 26-inch wheels. Those trends were becoming very popular very
Crazy.
quickly. It was very much making baggers, the bagger platform, very popular. And then, of course, you know, when you have something good, someone's got to ruin it. So then came 30s and 32-inch wheels and 34-inch wheels, and it was just too big, and we didn't like it. And we build bikes in our shop that are performance-minded. They're definitely they have a huge footprint in cosmetics because we love great-looking bikes and we love sexy bikes, but they have to perform. It has to look great, and then it has to beat the guy that thinks you can't ride that. Right? So there's two parts to it. So the SRT was an evolution of the big wheel bagger trend, and me getting tired of the big wheels getting bigger and bikes going back in the trailer and not being ridden. And we love to ride our bikes, you know, cross country. We love to ride them hard, and we never met a canyon, you know, that we didn't like. Right? So the SRT was really performance born. It was we still wanted to celebrate the big wheel movement and the big wheel look. The SRT actually, once it's mounted on the 20-inch rim that it lives on, it actually has the same outer diameter as a 23-inch mounted wheel. So it's still considered a big wheel, which, you know, we all had a lot of hands in creating that big wheel trend. So we certainly didn't want to abandon it, but we also wanted to get to a more performance-orientated tire that could really not only complement your ride and give it the look you wanted, but we really wanted it to improve your ride. We wanted it to blow you away. We wanted you to be able to get on a bike after you modified it and made it an SRT and have your bike help you do things that you didn't even think you could do. And that's why that's where it came from.
And that's what, and quite frankly, that's what happened to me. Because I mean, I remember us talking about this, and then I remember the 17 Road Glide that Chad bought, and you got up here for the rally, and you said stop what you're doing. You got to ride this. You just forget what you're doing. Just take this for a ride. And Charlie was here, and we jumped on that thing, and we went for the ride, and that was it. Like all I was thinking about is, how fast can I do this to my bike? Like it wasn't even a question. And the true testament is when the passenger, my wife, makes a statement like, I've never felt so safe and confident on a bike as I do with an SRT.
And there's reasons for that.
Yeah. It's and now my opinion, and I'm not strictly my opinion. I'm not the subject matter expert at all, but I don't have anything against, or I'm not against big wheels in the front. But to me, the 23, the 26, the 30, done your way, done with your kids, they can perform, they can handle great. But at the same time, it is a look at my bike type of thing. You know, it's a look at me, look at my bike. It's a lot of looks. And as I explain to people,
the first thing that attracts you to it.
Yeah.
You see it, you go, what is that?
Yeah.
That looks awesome, right?
Yeah.
Right.
And I explain to people, this may look cool, but that's not the point of it. This is not for looks. This is a performance kit. Okay,
It really is.
It is a performance handling kit. And so even though the looking cool, looking awesome is like a byproduct, but that's not. You didn't do it. In my understanding, you didn't do it just so the bike looked cool. It just looks cool anyway, you know, as a result of it. But this is a performance, you know, a handling performance-based kit with.
There's so many things that people, when they're modifying their bikes to put big wheels on them, there's things that they compromise, right? And that was one of the biggest things. It's what it says on the cover of our little SRT brochure. No compromise.
No compromise.
Right? We won't compromise anything. We won't compromise tire performance. We won't compromise ride. We won't compromise not having perfect trail in your geometry. We won't compromise having a full suspension travel. None of those things are done to your bike when you install an SRT tire. We won't even allow you to trim your fork cans away and open up the insides of your fork cans, which exposes your fork seals to everything that they're not supposed to be exposed to.
dust and dirt.
We wouldn't even do that. When we engineered this, that was our mission, was no compromise. We won't include travel limiters. We won't make you increase your fork preload so your suspension is hard as a rock. Those types of things were not, if those things had to be done, this would have never come to life, because we weren't willing to allow that.
It would defeat the purpose.
It certainly would.
Yeah,
Then it would just be another look.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
And the bottom line is, like you said, I mean, and that's my selling point. And my goal for my next SRT is I don't want to sell it, because I want somebody to take it for a ride and let the transformation, let the SRT kit do the talking.
Sure.
Like, take this for a ride. Don't pay attention to how fast the motor is or what position the handlebars are. Focus on the handling of this bike. And my guys in the shop, they've all said the same. Even Josh, who's he's negative Nancy
Right.
on a lot, and he took it for SRT, and he's like, that's a damn nice riding bike. I mean, it turns a 950 pound bagger into a dyno, into an FXR.
It really makes a big difference, especially in the corners.
Yeah.
Right, and there's a lot to that. That's one of them is there's not even competitors, but other people that make tires. They reduce the overall sidewall and the profile of the tire. We increased it. We went to a balloon aesthetic because we wanted this tire to eat the road. We wanted you to feel nothing. We wanted it when normally you're used to, you see a bump and you're like, oh, and you tighten up because you think it's just gonna slam. This thing just rolls right over it.
Yeah.
Right. It just eats the road. And then we see people too do lower profiles and a very flat tire to get a certain kind of look that they're looking for. But that's not about this look. Is the opposite. This look is a full radius, and what it allows you to do is it allows you to really lean out on the outsides of the tire of the bike, and it really allows you to approach a turn in a very smooth fashion, plot your line, look through your horizon, and the bike will follow you right through it. No matter how far you lean out on this tire, that bike's just going to follow you right through it because of the shape and the construction of the tire.
So, I know we've talked about it before, but my memory's not always the best. But I mean, in when you were doing this, when you put your mind to it that you're gonna create this kit, you had there were some challenges, right? I mean, I remember you telling me the story about the tires, the 220s or whatever, and the shipping container, but I mean, what were the hurdles? What were the big hurdles that you had to?
Well, the whole thing started because we just wanted to do. I wanted to do a large platform, a large diameter platform, but I wanted to do a much wider tire than 23s and 26s, and I wanted more tire and more cushion, and I wanted to get my whole ride back. I didn't want to ruin my ride. I wanted to better my ride. I wanted to go through all this work, have the thing be great looking, and bonus, it rides twice as good, right? So that was the challenge. So yes, we had a tire company that the first tire we did was a 220/20. It was actually over 8 inches wide, and it was too wide. It was a cool look, and it certainly announced the profile and the look, and people liked it, and it had a balloon aesthetic, but it was a rear tire that we put on the front of the bike. So we ran it backwards, which any tire manufacturer will freak out if you tell me you're running tires in reverse rotation. But the tire was also old technology. It wasn't load rated, and it was constructed differently than we wanted this tire to be constructed. We wanted to bias ply the tire so it wouldn't grow at speed, so it wouldn't change shape. We wanted to hold this shape because we want this profile, this radius available to you all the time.
Right.
And especially when you're doing 100 miles an hour and you're, not that we would ever go that fast, but
only in Montana.
That you would, I've heard, yeah. So that when you ditch into a turn, way faster than you should, you're just blown away. That you come right out the other side and you're like, oh my God, I never even knew I could do that. That was amazing, and it was effortless, and it makes you a better rider, and it's fun. I mean, again, if you're into the performance of these motorcycles and you're into the sport of motorcycling, which for me it's all about the ride. Even though I build these crazy custom bikes and you do too, but we love to ride them. I love to build something, and then I like to ride it across country to prove that what I did does what it's supposed to do, and then some, right? And
all the keyboard commandos.
That's where the fun is the ride. It's the lifestyle I live a motorcycle lifestyle. I love being on motorcycles, and I love riding them. I'm not a big round town guy. Not that there's anything wrong with bar hopping or just going for day rides with your buddies and doing all that stuff. But my real passion is when I get to take a week or 2 weeks and travel the country and meet people I've never met and see things I've never seen from the seat of a motorcycle and become one with the bike and become one with the elements that you're exposed to. It's just an amazing adventure that So what do they say? If I have to explain, you wouldn't understand. Yeah. Right? That's you have to experience it.
And well, one of the things I like about it the most is that when you got a F-350 with the 8-foot bed and a crew cab, you just pile all the shit in.
Right.
You pile it in. We'll take it. We might use it. We're not sure. Or you got this big suitcase when you're on a bike, and you've got this saddlebag. Or in my case, I have a half a saddlebag, and Charlie gets the other half, and then her saddlebag and the tour pack. But you become minimalist. You know what I mean? Do I really need that?
Right, sure.
Can I squeak through with a couple extra, with just one pair of jeans for 3 days?
Some things take on a lot more importance, right? Like a good rain suit.
That's right.
Right?
Yeah.
That's important, right? So,
I'm with you.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, the evolution of this product, of this kit, was really built for us. It was something we wanted, to incorporate into our rides, to enhance, our riding experience. And that's why, we saw other people doing things where they have these, what I would call cheap fixes or unacceptable fixes, which is, your wheel's so big that you lose travel between your fender and your triple trees, right? You lose travel there. So what most people will do is they'll stiffen up the way this can move, or they'll put a travel limiter in here.
So it can only go so far.
So it can only go so far. Well, why not just build it right where it all works, right? And you get full suspension travel and full clearance, build it the way it should be. I never understood that. And then, these people that now, one thing that scares people about this is that you have to cut your neck of your frame. You have to change the degree of rake, the angle of your neck of your frame, to accomplish this, right? And people will go like, oh, I'm not cutting my frame. And I could totally understand that, right? And I could try to set your mind at ease by saying we have a patented rake neck system,